And my shirt has a lot of crumbs on it because I was eating a cookie. Please don't judge me. Is that a, oh my God. Anyway, okay. I'm not changing the shirt, okay? I'm just not.
Remember, remember, you are a winner. Gold diamond pendant, the Christmas tree present, the queen, not a peasant. So grab the...
Hey you guys, thank you so much for tuning into the video. It's me, it's Ty. Welcome to my new video. It is Make Up Your Mindset, where we soul search while we slay. If you're new here, hey, my name is Ty. I'm 28 years old and I live in New York City, and I'm a content creator who has no idea what she's doing. None. So if you want to just talk about being lost and, like, you know, understanding that it's okay to not have it figured out, don't forget to sit back, relax, comment, rate, and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat. Check out my lash line, Ella Ty Lashes. We have some new styles coming into the collection, so check them out. And follow us on Instagram, and let's get into the video. Let's talk about not having it all figured out. I need to pull my hair back, and I got this little headband from Versed. I thought this would be really cute to wear just to keep my hair out my face. So we're gonna talk about having it all figured out. I feel like as a 28-year-old woman living on my own in New York City, no job, who is now grieving her mother, if the GPS just wants to show up, I would so appreciate it. Like, there is no GPS here. And I feel like for the past like year and a half, I've just had this pressure to figure it out. I've been in survival mode for such a long time. I think we need to talk about that. So when it comes to having it figured out, right? I think the reason why we focus on trying to have everything figured out is because we're very much so tired of living in survival mode. Meaning you're not really able to see the beautiful things that life has to offer you because you're just focused on getting to the next step. You can't even pay attention to what's going on around you. Now, sometimes being in survival mode is necessary, right? Certain instances, because sometimes there is no time to take a step back and smell the roses and see what's going on and see what's happening. Sometimes you gotta just grab your shit and go. And I completely understand that. But what about the people that have always known survival style living? They only know how to live in survival mode. They don't really know how to just thrive and live. I think this video is for y'all because I think that was me. Growing up, I was very much so in survival mode. There were a lot of moments where I wasn't really sure where things were gonna land, and I wasn't really sure how much money I was gonna have, and I wasn't really sure how I was gonna make ends meet. There was a lot of uncertainty within me. So because I had a lot of uncertainty, that uncertainty turned into anxiety. And with that anxiety made me feel like, you know what, to combat this anxiety, I'm just gonna have it all figured out. I'm gonna sit down with my iPad, I'm gonna plan my life away, and I'm just gonna wake up and follow this to the letter, and then this should make me, I should be closer to my goal, right? Wrong, 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 wrong. That is so wrong, like completely wrong. Oh, all the products that I will be using will be listed in the description box down below. So, you know, because this is not that kind of makeup video, okay? It's not. I'm looking for my mirror because I bought one. Oh, there it is. I have one right here. Say hi to yourselves, you guys. And look, that's my mom's obituary in the background. She's always with me. Sitting here and thinking that, you know, figuring it out is like you sitting down and planning out your life. That's not how life works. Life is not about sitting down and like writing out some master plan and then living out that master plan, because life is life. It is, things are gonna happen, right? What I've learned about survival mode is that survival mode will make you choose things that are not for your benefit, all because you're coming from a place of need. When you come from a place of need, you end up putting yourself in a position where you are at a disadvantage from actually choosing something that you need to choose because you're in survival mode, right? I know you're probably wondering, when are you gonna start your makeup? I promise you it's gonna happen. I'm gonna eat this cookie. It's a really good cookie. They did something with this. Now that you know the root cause of like why people are trying so hard to figure it out is because they're trying to escape survival mode. You gotta come to a point of understanding that survival mode is a part of the growing pain process. That is something that I'm still coming to terms with now. I guess I can tell you a little story like why I quit my job. There were a multitude of reasons why I quit my job. But the main reason why I quit my job is because the environment that I was in was not really conducive to my growth. I didn't really like that whole, oh, we're a family mentality. Because I realized when people say that they think of you as family and you work for them, what they mean is we can talk to you any old type of way and then just put it under the guise of family, and if you take it personal, that means you're too sensitive. I didn't really like any of that. When I felt disrespected and I just didn't really feel in a place that was safe for me, something just told me to quit. Did I have any money saved up? No. Did I know where my next job was coming from? No. This is so bright. They played games with me, so we had like a lot of major miscommunications, and I feel like those things are red flags that normally I would ignore, but something just told me to kind of fall back. It was just like, oh, just fall back. There's a reason why this isn't working. There's a reason why this isn't working. There's a reason why this isn't working. When I realized I'm starting to build a certain level of discernment, I'm paying attention to what's ideal for me, what works for me, what's gonna help me grow. I'm paying attention to the opportunities that are like arising, and I'm paying attention to how I feel when they arise. And if it doesn't fill me up or energize me, then I don't take it. And that's a part of figuring it out too. Figuring it out too is also knowing when to say no. Also knowing when to say, yeah, that opportunity is not for me. There's another one that's coming that's better. And just because you decided to say no does not mean you stop moving forward. It just means you're paying attention to what serves you and what doesn't. And that's what I had to learn when it came to this whole figuring it out process. I've lost 2 jobs and quit 1 job in a matter of 2 years while simultaneously trying to build my social media presence, grieving my mom, and starting my lash business up again. Elatai Lashes will be launching, and I hope you're ready. Shameless plug. I believe like when it came to like the whole figuring it out process, when I realized I started to figure things out was when I started to just move without thinking of a strategy or a plan. So I think what we need to talk about next is foregoing the strategy or the plan. You have to understand certain situations may call for a plan, but not all. Because sometimes we can get like analysis paralysis, where we like put ourselves in a frozen state because we're so overwhelmed by what we should do. Meaning like we've analyzed the situation so much over and over and over and over again. And once I learned that I had to kind of let the whole planning process go, I had to kind of just like go with the flow and see and pay attention to what made me feel energized, what made me feel connected, what made me feel closer to myself, is when I realized that I was actually in the process of figuring it out. And also, while you're in the process of figuring it out, you have to have this understanding that you're not gonna have everything figured out in a matter of weeks, especially if the problems that you've been facing have been happening for years. Like, I'm not gonna wake up one day and be over the fact that my mom is gone. My mom has been in my life for my entire life. So waking up one day and thinking, okay, well, you know, I did that one thing that made me feel better, so that's probably me figuring it out. No, it doesn't happen that way. Like, it's a gradual process of you constantly just working on yourself, building yourself up, acknowledging your needs, calling yourself out, and sitting with your emotions and riding through those waves that your emotions bring. The uncertainty that a lot of young people, myself included, feel, I'm realizing is a part of the process. I'm also realizing that this concealer is way too fucking bright. This concealer is bright as hell. What is this? Like, why is this so bright? Jesus Christ, you can see me coming from down the block. Oh, that's way too bright. That is, oh no. Nope, that is not what I asked for. This right here, this concealer, I think I used the wrong tube. It's so bright. Like, this would be like my inner corner highlight. This is bright as hell. Now, there are gonna be some problems or some issues that you've been facing that are gonna take some time to stabilize and get back their sense of normalcy. However, yeah, that concealer was way too bright. I'm like, what the hell? Yeah, that makes more sense. You're probably like, does it? Yeah, it does to me. You have to understand that when it comes to you going through the process of figuring things out, the things that you are figuring out, they're not gonna be fixed overnight. So if money was an issue for you and you're like, you know what, today I'm gonna sit down and write out a budget. You sit down and you write out the budget, and now you feel a little bit lighter because now you have a plan of action, but you still have to implement that plan of action that you concocted. And you have to be committed to the results. You have to be committed to seeing everything through. Right? Another thing that I realized when it comes to not having it figured out, like just letting go of that concept of like, I have to have everything handled and figured out now, because if I don't, then obviously I don't know what I'm doing and I'm a bad adult. It's like, there's a lot of adults that just really didn't know what the hell they were doing, and they were legit faking it until they make it. And I feel like if you're just honest with yourself and you're just like, yeah, I don't really know what I'm doing here, but I'm just gonna, you know, keep walking down this path and hopefully something make sense. Yeah, you gotta just be committed to the fact that figuring it out is not having the answer to all of your problems. It's like, okay, I found one piece to this puzzle that is a part of my life. I'm going to implement this one piece and see if this one piece can garner some kind of change. But while you're working on that one piece, there's a bunch of other pieces that need to be acknowledged too. And you gotta just take your time with it. Nobody has it figured out. I don't have it figured out. All I have is what I want to do next. When people ask like, you know, how do you feel about being unemployed? It's like, before I used to say, oh my God, I'm so bored, I have nothing to do, I feel purposeless, I don't really feel like I'm doing enough. But now I'm like, you know what, I have an abundance of time to create the job for me that I can create with my own two hands, and know that no one could ever take that job away from me. Know that I'll never have to walk away from it because it's something that I am passionate about, that I created on my own. So I started to change how I spoke about my circumstance. I realized that's another aspect of figuring it out. You have to shift your mindset and understand that the mindset shift is honestly like the biggest component. And some days your mindset's gonna shift right back because, you know, old habits die hard. But as long as you know, like, hey, you know what? Me shifting my mindset definitely did make me feel a little bit better. I know you guys are probably wondering, why is there so much concealer on her face and she looks real white? But y'all just bear with me. I promise you we're gonna look like a snatched chocolate drop, although I look casket ready right now. But I am committed to the process, and I'm gonna figure it out by continuing down this makeup path. Also, sometimes when it comes to figuring it out, it's gonna look crazy. Like how my makeup looks right now, but because I'm committed to the process of doing my makeup, I'm gonna use my two hands. I'm gonna feel my way through this to find out how I can get the best result. And I know in the beginning it's gonna look a little crazy, it's gonna look a little wild, it's gonna look a little crazy. People are gonna sit there and question me and ask me, what the fuck am I doing? Am I doing this right? And the thing is, sometimes those questions, look at that big difference, sometimes those questions, while you're figuring it out, your confidence will start to wane. Like you'll get a little insecure. Oh wow, they're pointing out the fact that I don't know what I'm doing, so obviously I must be doing a bad job. I think that's just the universe testing you and testing your ability to stay committed to yourself. Right now I'm committed to this makeup look, even though right now I look crazy as hell. I feel very like I said, casket ready, but I know I can switch this up. I know this because I've seen myself do it before, and I believe in my ability. But this is like literally like what it looks like to figure it out. It's like, I don't know if this is blending the right way, I don't know if I like this, I don't know if it's looking right. I'm over here using a bunch of other brushes that I've never used before. Like, that's literally what it looks like when it comes to figuring it out. That's why I keep saying you're not gonna have it figured out. Figuring it out is literally walking down the path and just paying attention to what feels right to you, and do something that you've never done before. Like, if it feels right, then do it. One thing I definitely feel like that's been helping me figure it out, I have this sense of duty now since my mom passed, to become the best version of myself. Spiritually, she's here and I feel like she's around me at all times. I feel like she's constantly encouraging me and telling me to keep going, and there's this sense of duty that I have to now deliver on the things that I promised I would do. I'm more determined than ever to like become that person that she raised me to become. I'm more determined than ever to try things, to throw some shit at the wall and see what sticks. So if there's anybody that's grieving right now, lost a family member, a friend, a significant other, if you've gone through the same thing I'm going through when it comes to grieving and you feel hopeless, I want you to think about the fact that the person that you lost physically is here with you spiritually, and they just want you to be your best self. They want to go on the journeys with you. They want to see beautiful things from you. They want to see you thrive and grow and become better. And it's like, that's what gives me comfort when it comes to my mom. When I feel lost and I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, and I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna get to the next stage. I'm really scared. I don't know what's happening. Mom, am I doing this right? And that gives me the fight to keep figuring it out, because some days I don't know what I'm doing. Most of the days I don't know what, every day I have no idea what I'm doing. All I know is what I'm eating and what I'm wearing. It's okay to not have it figured out. Sometimes you have to go through the door on the right to understand and value the door on the left. Sometimes that detour is teaching you patience, teaching you how to value your process. And sometimes you need to go through that. That's also a part of figuring it out. Sometimes figuring it out is bouncing all over the place. That's why the video is called I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, but I'm doing something. When I'm overwhelmed and I have to like clean my bedroom, and like my living room's a hot ass mess, and the kitchen's a hot ass mess, and and the stove is dirty and there's no groceries in the house and I'm just like, what the fuck? I'm just overwhelmed by things. I have those moments where I don't know where to start. So when I have to clean, I start with the thing that energizes me the most. So take that same analogy and apply it to your life. If you're looking at your life and you're like, I don't like my body, I don't like my career, I don't like my relationship, if you're just sitting here thinking about all the things that you want to do or things that you feel like you need to do, pay attention to what energizes you first and then walk down that path. I've learned a lot about myself within the past 2 years. One thing I am grateful for is that I've gotten to know myself. I know myself in a completely different way now because I legit spent 2 years at home. You learn your preferences, you learn the things that you like, you learn the things that you don't like, you learn the things that you're willing to tolerate, the things you're not willing to tolerate. Like I know myself on a whole other level now because I've spent so much more time with myself. So much so that I understand my figuring it out process. So when it comes to how well I know myself, and I've learned my figuring it out process. I need you guys to get out of your heads when it comes to how you think you should go about doing something, because 9 times out of 10 what you should do isn't what you should be doing. Anyway, another thing that I realized when it comes to having it figured out is that inner voice in your head has to be solid. And what I mean by that, there cannot be there's no place for doubt and insecurity when you decide to jump out on your own and do what makes sense to you. You gotta trust your intuition and trust your instincts. And if your mindset is that, beats you up, where you're beating yourself up for making mistakes and you're second guessing in your abilities, you really got to work on that. And that's something I'm also working on too. I started reading a book. It's called Ask and It Is Given by Esther Hicks. It's one of the best books that I've read because it definitely helps you shift your mindset. It's all about vibrations, being in alignment, being in a state of allowing, things of that, the law of assumption, the law of attraction, all those things. It's a very nuanced book. Highly recommend you read it. But this book has definitely helped me shift my mindset. On top of journaling has also helped me as well when it comes to taking the time to understand that I don't have to have it all figured out. I narrate what's happening. I'm in tune with how everything is working out. It's all on me, and not in a way that makes me feel overwhelmed or pressured, but just in a way that makes me feel like when it comes to my growth, my progression, where I'm trying to go in life, what I'm doing, what I'm capable of, how am I gonna get there, and just kind of trusting the process. I got this. But I definitely had to work on my mindset. And the last thing that I think we really need to talk about is that when it comes to not having it figured out, you have to surrender to the unknown. You have to surrender to the unknown. Life is not a simple math equation where 1 + 1 = 2. If it was, then everybody would have what they wanted. Everybody would be doing what they wanted, and everybody would be happiest. It doesn't work that way, because if it did, then everybody would be doing it, but it doesn't work that way. Remember at the beginning of the video how uncertain I was? How uncertain I was about how this makeup look was gonna come out, in terms of am I gonna look like a ghost? I think we look pretty brown, you guys. I think we did a pretty good job. Literally the perfect analogy when it comes to figuring it out. Sometimes while you're in the thick of it and while you're trying to figure it out, it's gonna look a hot ass mess. And you're not going to be able to recognize yourself because you're going through things that you've never experienced before. You're having things happen and having feelings happen that you've never had happen before. And you are literally advocating for yourself. It's not easy. It's really not. However, there's still a lot to be learned when it comes to the process of figuring it out. Or I was very uncomfortable with the process. I was just like, this is just such an inconvenience. I'm not really getting the things that I need to get. I feel lost all the time. I feel so confused. Why am I going through this? That was literally my thought process, because I was just going through so much. But now I'm whatever happens is meant to happen. If it's for me, it will find me. I am figuring it out every single day. I used to think because I wasn't at the caliber that I wanted to be as a content creator and YouTuber, that I was failing. And then one day it kind of hit me, I was I'm over here making these proclamations about what kind of creator I want to be, but I'm not creating shit. And the only way that I'm gonna actually figure out if this is for me or not is if I actually put myself 100% into the process. I'm figuring it out. I'm literally figuring it out with you guys on camera right now. I'm figuring it out. So my closing thoughts. It's okay to not have it figured out. It's okay to be afraid of the next steps. It's okay to not understand where you're headed. It's okay to question all those things, because those things help you get closer to who you want to be. Take your time. Pay attention to your intuition. Pay attention to your emotions. If it energizes you and it makes you feel good, walk toward it. If it drains you and leaves you feeling frustrated or stuck or overwhelmed, leave it alone, okay? Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Thank you for watching our Make Up Your Mindset video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe to the channel. The lashes that I am wearing are my lashes from my lash line. These are in the style Ella. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Follow me on Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok. I love you guys so much, and we'll be back with another video next week. Bye, you guys. Bye.